Hi, and welcome back to another episode of A Fine Podcast with your hosts, Amanda and
Joseph. Yeah, welcome back, everyone. We are here for episode 3 of Got to Get Out.
Woo! And we have to get out our opinion of this episode.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yes. I'm in the got to get out mindset.
Wow.
And I can't wait to chat about this.
Yeah, we've got some interesting things that happened this go around. Did anyone get out? Who got in?
Got to get in, a new spin-off show.
Yeah.
It's where a group of people compete to get in the house.
Yeah.
At random times, the doors will open, and then other people have to barricade them from getting in.
Yeah.
Would you watch that spinoff?
I don't know. Sure, yeah.
Sure, yes.
they-
What is that?
Make some. I mean, yeah, they could make that interesting.
Yeah,
But the house is nice.
the house is nice.
The way they've stuck with it. So
We like the got to get out version
yeah.
right now. How has your day been so far today? And week, but you could just answer the day part.
Yeah, it's been nice.
Nice?
Yeah.
Why, that's very nice to hear that.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a nice day.
What has been your favorite part about today
I
so
got to
far?
wake up nicely,
Whoa.
and then I got to work out nicely.
Whoa. This morning we woke up early and got to work out, which was nice.
Yes. And then we had breakfast. That was nice.
That was nice. We had breakfast. We had breakfast together.
Yeah.
And we had,
And now we're shooting a podcast together.
you know what's coming up?
What?
Time to review our clothing.
What is that?
The portion of our lives of the year where we go into our closets and drawers and throw out things with holes and donate other pieces.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Wouldn't that be a fun activity to do soon?
Yeah. Spring cleaning?
Yeah. Do you have any other spring cleaning thoughts?
Other than the yard and the house? No.
The house.
Yeah. Clean the house, the inside of the house, the outside of the house.
That's year round, baby. That's year round.
Yeah, but you have to do a better job in spring.
That's true because of all the pollen that gets all over everything.
Yeah. There's more to the job.
That's right. How many jobs do you hold? Because that is a job.
Yeah.
That's
a
one job.
full-time job.
Yeah. Do you think we both put in full-time hours as a cleaner?
No.
Both of us combined each week? Maybe.
No.
You were very strong with that. No.
No.
So does that mean our house is filthy right now?
No.
I would say we spend a good 40 hours a week cleaning and doing laundry and household activities. Actually, I would not say that. Definitely not. More like 4 without the 0. Am I right? 4.
I would say 10 hours.
Yeah, I guess that's a good estimate.
Yeah.
We're cleanly folk.
Yes. Yeah.
We like to be clean in our house.
Yeah.
But sometimes the cleaning just takes a little extra time. You know what I'm saying? So some weeks will be better than others.
Because you just do a deeper clean, that's all.
Yeah, that's true. Like, when's the last time we've cleaned out the inside of our oven? A year ago.
No, I did that a couple months ago.
It still has a blueberry from a blueberry pie that we made in there a year
No,
and a
I
half
cleaned
ago.
that.
Come on. No, you did not.
Yeah.
I see that blueberry every single time.
No, you do the self-clean option and it works.
And it disposes of a giant blueberry in there?
Yeah, because it basically melts it because it goes to like 500 plus degrees in the oven.
It's like an incinerator?
Yeah.
The blueberry got cremated.
Yes.
That's a sad day for the blueberry.
Yeah. You know what else is
Gets
pretty
cremated?
clean?
It was pretty clean.
Yeah.
What?
the mansion and got to get out.
Oh, it is pretty clean. Let's talk about our clean mansion now.
Yeah.
So last we ended with Kim's escape, or her plan to escape once she saw that the light was green and she could get out. And she opens the door and she just kind of stands in the doorway. And then Claire runs and hits the button.
Well, we see, yeah, so Claire happens to be walking by and sees Kim in a limbo state with like one foot out the door with the door open. And
Was she like trying to decide, am I going to leave in that moment?
I guess
What was taking so long to walk out?
I don't understand what her hesitation was there.
Yeah, I don't either.
I guess it could, I don't know if she was thinking of, because this was kind of more just sprung on her without any thought, that she really didn't have a plan of how to get out. And is it worth trying to get out if people are going to maybe, villainize me or something for trying to get out? But that's the only thing I could think of why she would have been so hesitant there.
Spencer runs and tells Kim, you blew it. And she says, all I did was open the door and I didn't get caught. And Spencer says, yes, you did. You got caught by Claire. And then Kim is mad at Spencer, but only like pretend mad because they actually have a friendship together.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I didn't realize this, but I, kind of realized it later. But at the moment, yeah, it's just more of like where they poke fun at each other every now and then. He was making more fun that she had actually gotten out and actually tried to escape, but she was just trying to say, no, I didn't even really try to escape. I just one foot out the door and that was it. Where he was, I guess, playing, envisioning it that she was already in the driveway or something, and then
or trying to escape, and but she's making like she didn't even try.
Right. Yeah.
So was she really just standing there thinking about doing it?
I guess. I mean, she didn't take any action on anything. So, I mean,
her body was halfway out the door.
Yeah, I mean, she really hadn't taken. I think she was almost just more trying to come up with something.
Yeah, that could be true.
Some type of plan or something.
But she didn't get out.
No, it's quickly foiled, and now we're back to square one with everyone needing or trying to obtain an exit strategy. And
well, first we see Doodles and Athena V hanging out together, developing this connection in the hot tub. And she says that she wants to use him for information, and he says he wants an alliance. So we start to see their connection form.
Yeah, we see this. I mean, almost this fake connection, right? Because they both have their motives behind
using each other.
Right. And it's funny because it's like in slightly different ways. But yeah, ultimately it's kind of this brittle alliance that they are forming here. And it does continue on as we see they have a little mini game, so to speak, of how to obtain an exit strategy. So they have these trash cans that they've shredded.
They brought back the recycling bins from the previous episode, so they have 6 of them, and they each contain an exit strategy inside. But the exit strategy is shredded, so they have to put teams together to put together the pieces of shredded paper. So they get 1 hour to put all the pieces together, or else they fail and they do not get their exit strategy. So there are 4 groups.
I'm amazed that they were actually able to assemble, some of them this sheet in an hour's time, because I feel like going through a shredder like that would take countless hours.
Well, they even put some fake messages in there too, so they were like piecing things together, and it's like, your clue is not on this paper.
Yeah, I mean, it really was not, I feel like, an easy task to try to assemble this, especially because one of the teams, they spent so much time building a message out, and then they realized it wasn't even an exit message. It was one of the decoys that they put in. So
right. So we see Kim pairing with Spencer, and then they also bring in Stein. And you were like, who's Stein? Because we haven't seen him really before.
Yeah, well, we see because it's fine. It's kind of the spotlight on one of these non-celebrity people that is finally getting a little bit of action, and mainly because he's on a team with Spencer and Kim. So it's almost like by proxy, would he get kind of his time in the spotlight because
He's an interesting person to put with the two of them because the two of them have like such dynamic personalities and they're really funny. And then he's kind of like this easygoing
yeah. I
guy.
mean, he got along very easily with them, and yeah, it I mean, it blended well.
They work well
for the three of
together,
them.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Omarosa feels like the third wheel on the team with Doodles and Athena V.
Yeah, so they put their little alliance in a plan and formulate together to endeavor on this paper building, and Omarosa gets attached, and then Omarosa starts picking up that they have like this weird fling thing
Yeah, and
kind
she
of
feels
happening.
odd being there.
Yeah.
But you know who they did not pay attention to? And this could have made for an interesting storyline. Steve and Val and their team and what was going on there.
I just don't think there's anything exciting enough to happen.
Well, I would like to hear from Steve, like how he even got on someone's team because he was so villainized previously. Or if there's any drama around that, but maybe there wasn't.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. I mean, he has been so, no one's like willing to even almost acknowledge that this guy's in the house. So
Maybe things are going better for him. They didn't focus on him like at all in this episode.
yeah, I almost feel like it. I mean, they've already focused so much on him, and maybe it just kind of was a duller time for him. But I mean, he already just had so much
Yeah.
attention.
But no continued.
But they didn't assemble their strategy in time either. So
Yeah, they lost. And Rob was on that team that
Right.
lost too.
So there wasn't much to even really talk about.
So 3 teams get the exit strategy. And Athena, Doodles, and Omarosa are up first. And they agreed not to take it. But then Doodles is thinking about taking it and going by himself and backstabbing Athena and Omarosa. And he tells Cynthia his plan to leave and then offers to split the amount with her in exchange for her not hitting the button because that's what she's been known for downstairs is keeping watch on the button.
Yeah, so we see Omarosa and Athena want it to be a higher value. They're not interested in it, especially if it's being split across 3 people. It's nowhere near
They
the
said it's
amount
not
they
worth
want.
it. Yeah.
So they're out. Doodles is still interested because, well, originally if it was just him, then he could take the 200 himself.
He's just constantly trying to go for it.
Yeah, because I mean, you might as well. I would kind of say, but you don't know who's going to escape and then take all that money you think you're going to win if you let it get too large anyway, and you may not be successful anyway. But so then we see, yeah, so him talk to Cynthia because, and I did notice that. Well, I've noticed in the other episodes where you do kind of see Cynthia always hanging out by the button. And they finally kind of shed some light on this, showing her that she really does just almost spend all her days
That's her
just
job.
laying, because there's like a couch right next to the button, and she's always on that couch. And so she's been like designated the button person when ever anyone has been alarmed and the button needs to be pressing. So Doodle, and this is kind of interesting because Doodles took this aspect of, well, let's flip it. So rather than having, because he tried to make the deal with Rob, taking the watchtower and going out. Now he's taking the button person and trying to take that out of the equation. So they make a deal, and she says, well, how much time do you need me to basically play, dummy and act like, what's happening and whatnot. And he tells her 20 seconds is what I need to get out.
And he looks serious, like this was a good plan. And he runs out which seems to work well. And the people on top of the watchtower have their backs turned, so they're not even seeing him run, which is crazy. You're on watchtower duty and you're chatting and you have your backs turned.
Well, yeah, this is what he's actually running out. I guess because he's running like from the back of the house to the front, and from one of the side windows of one of the bedrooms, Rashad sees Doodles running.
That's where he's captured, not the watchtower, but he makes it
Right.
pretty far. So Rashad is puzzled. He's like, how did he even make it this far?
Right. Which was crazy because actually, if Rashad hadn't seen him, then he probably would have made it
Yeah.
because it probably would have been way too late for the watchtower to have noticed him. Or by the time they would have alarmed it, that would have been the time he would have had to escape. Because I
Mhm.
think that's really what Doodles' plan was. Rashad kind of foiled it because he just spotted him from one of the bedrooms where I think Doodles was obviously being expected to be spotted by the watchtower.
Right. Well,
But by the
yeah,
time
he
the
was so
watchtower goes
close.
to the button, he would have been out. But Rashad foils that by seeing him.
Well, the watchtower not paying attention kind of just worked out better for Cynthia because she didn't get an alert from the watchtower to press the button.
Oh yeah, well it worked perfectly for her to just play dumb that she wasn't even a
She's
part
like,
of
"What?
this
I didn't even
plan,
hear
and
anything. Did they alert me upstairs? What happened?"
right,
So
because the
it's
alarm
so
never
easy. Yeah.
triggered, so it was easy for her. I mean, I would have thought if I was in that situation, I would just like, oh, I happened to be in the bathroom or something at this exact moment or
Yeah, I
whatever.
think we both said that. Like, why doesn't she just say, "Oh, I just got done using the restroom"?
Yeah, if they really, but no one really like pressed her on it, so she didn't really even have to
Right.
really defend or back up what was going on.
Yeah, so she totally has the alibi that the watchtower wasn't watching
Yeah,
and she's innocent.
yeah.
But then Rashad goes up to the watchtower and he starts asking them, "Okay, which one of you is working with Doodles now? Who's working with him?" And they're like, "What? We honestly don't know what you're talking about."
Yeah, so Rashad still kind of has some questions on how that played out.
And no one admits to it, so he thinks this whole thing is really fishy.
Yeah. The problem I thought with Doodles with him running was he just got out the door and just started running. I, I almost feel like there were some trees and stuff. I mean, they've got some garden things and
Like dart to one area, dart to the next area, like that type of thing.
yeah, or be a little bit more strategic there. I mean, obviously it's hard to kind of see in the house, but I mean the windows are there. You might be able, if you could hide behind something a little bit, and
And can you see into the windows? Like see if someone turns their head or something?
I don't know how well he would have been able to see that, but I mean, I guess I get it, right? As soon as you're out, the clock's racing against you, but I don't know. It just felt a little bit reckless with him just to full on dart, unless he just didn't expect someone there. But I think maybe he was just more focused on the watchtower spotting him versus someone in the house.
Yeah, I think that was just the strategy was go as fast as possible, full force, and don't stop,
Yeah.
which did not work, but could have worked, but no. So a question I have though is do you think he actually would have split the money with Cynthia?
I think so. Yes.
She was worried about that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, because and that's where this game, adds even more of the uncertainty is. Yeah, they're not obligated to. They could totally just say, "Hey, yeah, I will," and then because ultimately it's whoever gets out, right? If you're the person helping, avoid the button being pressed or something, it is really. Am I just helping him get out and me not even getting involved? Am I going to get double crossed or something?
I would be worried about that.
Oh yeah, for sure. If I really didn't know the person, it is.
I think the only person that people probably wouldn't worry about is Rob.
Yeah. I mean, well, because he's already come out and been
He's already
so
basically said
trustworthy
that,
because
yeah.
he, had his chance and came out. So yeah, I think people would probably be more inclined to trust him, but if they worked with him, I was kind of thinking. I wonder what Rob was thinking, because he got in with Doodle's last plan, but now he didn't get involved with Doodle's this plan.
He
So it
wasn't in
was
the right
almost like
place.
Right. But it would be just kind of interesting. I wonder. I'm surprised they didn't have like an interview with him or something, or asking him like, well, how do you feel being left out of this plan or something?
Oh, he wouldn't have felt bad.
I mean, right, yeah.
Because he's not
but-
watching the button. He
Or maybe
totally
he did. He
would
just
understand.
didn't give a. He just
Well,
didn't care.
no one knows that anyone was working with Doodles.
Right. Yeah.
So we didn't even get to see, like, I don't even think Athena or Omarosa know, right?
Well, they don't know yet. So that was his thing. So as Doodles is walking back, he talks to, some of the people, and he says, "Please don't tell Athena this," and Omarosa, mainly more of Athena because he's worried about that brittle alliance already being broken.
Yeah, well, this was so foolish. You're going to backstab your 2 team members and make a dash for it.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but
And then they
it's
will
because-
find out, and then you'll be untrustworthy.
Right. You telling people, please don't tell them. I mean, that's obviously not going to work.
Yeah.
So that's just, you're going to have to be willing to take the heat if you don't get caught. So,
Right.
or if you do get caught.
If you do get caught. So next we have Demi, Shane, and Rashad. And we learn that Rashad is in cahoots with Yane. And he's talking to her about plans, but not talking to his other teammates. And Demi and Shane, they're waiting in the orange room for their time to pop up, which I guess, why wasn't Rashad with them?
Well, because he said he didn't really want to do it or take it then. And he was just going to go call them out immediately and act like he wasn't even a part of the plan.
Wait, so what was the thing with Yane then?
He was telling Yane about it, but he just wasn't interested in doing it. And I think it was more to just strengthen their alliance, to tell her, hey, I have this plan. I got this strategy, but I'm not.
Which that makes sense. Yeah.
You're my person. I want to do it.
But didn't they feel like backstabbed by Rashad talking to Yane?
Well, they didn't get a chance. I don't think they saw him talking to her. But the other thing was, too.
Wait, Demi and Shane went behind Rashad's back to take it?
No, they all talked about going. Rashad said,
"Oh, you guys go. I'll call you out or something."
No, but he said, "Yeah, or he said, "Yeah, we'll do it." But then he no-showed on them. He ghosted them.
Rashad ghosted Demi and Shane.
Right, because Shane, there was the scene where Shane's looking around for Rashad because they're the money taker's about to strike for their strategy.
So he never showed.
And he's looking all around the house for him. And then Rashad went up to the watchtower
to call them out,
to basically be able to spot them, and then act like he wasn't even a part of their team because he would have spotted them out and called the alarm.
Rashad was a no call.
So he had he would have totally double crossed them.
No call, no show.
Yes. But then we find out that this
was the silliest thing.
Misformulated their strategy when reading the paper.
Yeah, so they're waiting in the orange room. Nothing happens. They're totally shocked. They're like, what's going on?
Well, I almost thought something like this was going to happen. So they ended up missing they got the numbers wrong, the digits in the wrong places.
Well, first, Demi gets mad because she says, maybe it wasn't the orange room. Maybe it was a different location. So then she's like calling out Rashad and Shane, but then the producers pull them all aside and show them the note, which had the different money amount on it. Yeah, and they flip-flop the numbers around. Are they expected to remember the numbers?
Yes.
Yeah, so then Demi goes, uh-oh, that one was my fault because I was responsible for the number reading.
Well, and two, she was blaming them because on the sheet of paper there was a big giant orange square, and she thought they were just assuming that it was the orange room because of that.
She's like,
which
you
in fact
idiots.
it was, yeah, and she's calling him names, Shane, because Rashad's not there, but about messing that up, and then they find out they thought the number was 243,500, but it was 235,400. And so they kept, but I thought this could have happened because there was this, they showed a scene right before this where Shane was asking Demi, you got the numbers right? You know what time we're going to do this, right? And then he's like, yeah, I think it's 243,500 or whatever. And there was like a little bit of uncertainty. Like they weren't sure right there about the number.
But then they kept chanting it with certainty after that. They're like, yes, it's definitely this time.
Right, because they just kind of made themselves believe it was the number.
Right.
But there was that little bit of wonder, and then I was like, oh, well, I wonder if they could maybe could they get the number wrong and then nothing happened. So yeah, we see they wait, 243 500, the lock doesn't unlock, and they're sitting there going, what's going on? Shouldn't it be opening?
And their time was long gone.
Right, and then they find out, the producer tells them, and they see that it opened up, and then no one was there, so
Blown strategy. Blown exit time.
completely wasted. Which, I mean, it didn't matter anyway, since
Because Rashad was there to call him out.
right,
so.
they would have been fun. And the other thing is that the two of them running out. Well, I guess the only
Did they know Rashad was going to the Watchtower?
no, that was his little secret. The only other thing I was thinking about is, why would both of them run out? Because obviously, if more people than one person are outside, there's more chances of you being caught.
Right.
But maybe, I guess it could be, because if you don't trust your whole team, I guess let's play it out, right? If both of them got out, then they are at least forced to split the money then. Where the one person who gets out really still has that option, right? If they actually want to split the money.
Yeah, the person that stays in could get screwed over.
Right. So I guess if more people than one are going out, it's basically because they probably don't trust the other people and they want to. But then, in the fact, they're going to really kind of shoot themselves in the foot, because it's more chances of them being spotted, someone being spotted. So,
well, that didn't work out at all.
So their plans are foiled, and they will have to wait for their next opportunity.
So moving on to Kim, Spencer, and Stein, they are talking about dressing up as producers as a strategy, which is actually a really brilliant strategy. So Spencer, they decide he will be the one to go out, and Kim and Stein will stay inside and distract, which they do a really good job of distracting people who are sitting at windows. Kim's talking to the people sitting at the windows and getting them to completely turn to her, and she's talking about crazy things and distracting them. Great job by her, too.
Yeah, I mean, clearly she's more of excelling at this than trying to go out herself. But
yeah, which that was great for her. But Spencer notices the producers, they dress in black and they're holding props, and Kim suggests that he holds a plant while he goes out. So he starts running around the house with different plants, trying to figure out which one he's going to use, and he picks this rather big plant.
Well, it was mainly I think finding one that was light enough that he'd be able to move around with.
Right, but it's still kind of big, the one he ended up with, but yeah.
Yeah, but too big enough to cover his face, or to make it harder to see that it's actually him.
Right. So, and then he also stuffs towels in his
right,
shirt.
he wants to make himself
which that's weird.
Well, he pokes fun because he makes himself look like this really overweight guy, and then he's like, oh well, no, actually, it's a joke or whatever. Like, oh no, the whole production here team is very fit. They're all fit.
Yeah, he's like, this is not to call out anybody on the production team because they look great, or they don't have towels hanging out of their stomach.
Yeah,
but
he's just really trying to obscure
just trying to make himself not look like himself as much as possible.
Yes.
So that's why he does this, which first I saw it, I was like, this looks so ridiculous, like unbelievable, like a stomach doesn't look like a stomach. But then when he actually walked outside, I'm like, it actually didn't look too bad.
I think, well, especially too, right, because they're going to see him more from a distance, which is where it works better, right? Obviously, if he's up close, it doesn't look, but further away, the more believable it looks. But I think the plant is the brilliant part, because it really hides his face, and you can't even really identify.
That was brilliant.
So
for that reason, and for the reason to make the person walking around look like they had an action or like a job to do, or like they had to move this from one location to another location so it wouldn't look weird.
Yes, right. Yeah, to kind of blend in with the crew is probably one
and what they're doing.
Yeah,
because they're probably moving stuff around all the time. So
right.
Yeah, I thought he definitely looked like he could blend in with the crew with the hat and didn't he wear sunglasses or something?
Yeah, he's got a hat and sunglasses. But
so then we see him making the escape. This is where the episode ends, and the people inside are talking. They're like, "Oh, who's that? What's that?" And they're like, "Oh, it must be a member of production. He's wearing all black. Must be like a producer."
Yeah. And we also see a scene where Kim's talking to Shane and I forget the other guy's name, but Shane and one of the other guys, and
He's in the background of
Spencer's
it. Yeah.
walking right past that window as she's distracting. So it did help in that window. And then they see him in some other windows. But
Right. Were they in the kitchen or something?
yeah. But at this point, he's at least on the driveway and not in the yard anymore to walk out. So now there's.
This is the best strategy we've seen so far. Very smart.
Yeah. Yeah. And this one is actually pretty, because it's not one of the ways that the show came up with to help, like, right with the cars or the recycling bin or whatever.
Right,
This is
just
just their
walk out.
homegrown thing. Which, yeah, I think it is a brilliant way. I kind of wonder, maybe they'll see that, like, he's just totally by himself and there's no other crew. Or I guess, it's hard to tell because we're looking from the camera's point of view. But, if there's no other camera or crew around, maybe they'll be like, oh, it's probably someone trying to escape or something, hit the button.
But I'm sure there's like rogue producers just walking around on their own too. I wonder what it would be that would finally like give him up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think he's still got a very long way to go. So maybe someone will put something together, but it definitely seems like a viable option. Like he could actually make it out with this.
Like maybe no producers walk down the whole entire driveway or something.
Right. Well, especially why is he taking the plant all the way down the driveway? Because I'm sure they've probably been taking them elsewhere.
Or, I mean, he's probably thinking of this like he would place the plant somewhere strategic and then just walk on like he was leaving.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe it'll be a thing where crew doesn't normally exit that way or walk that way or something. But yeah, that'll be interesting to see what happens. Do you think he gets out?
Yeah,
this one's harder.
I don't know. This is definitely the tricky. I feel like the rest of them were pretty easy to tell that they weren't going to make it. But I feel like this one could have the opportunity to do it.
Yeah. I'm very interested to see what will happen.
Yeah. Yeah, nonetheless, he's got a solid chance.
Thanks so much for joining us for another episode of A Fine Podcast.
Yes, thanks for checking us out. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And we hope to see you next week as we tune in for episode 4.
That's right. We can't wait to see what happens with Spencer and crew and tune in for a recap soon.
Do the towels work? Do they not? We'll find out.
Does the plant work? Bye.
Ciao.